Hello everyone, warm welcome to Regulatory Bodies YouTube channel by Testbook. My name is Madhav. I welcome you all in a very important session. We call it as Finance Current Affair. So today's session is going to be really very important because we have two news directly from RBI, one news from SEBI, and we have few miscellaneous news which can be asked in your phase 1 examination. So today's session is a mixed bag of phase 1 as well as phase 2. That means the news which I'm going to cover, they have a possibility, they have a capability that they can be asked not only in phase 2, they can be asked in phase 1 as well, and not only in RBI phase 1. These news which we are going to discuss today, they are going to help you in other exams as well, like IBPS or SBI PO, as well as your PFRD, IFSCA, LIC, AAO. All these exam related current affairs can be covered in this session itself. So if we are good to go and you want me to start with the discussion, just give me a yes sir, so that we can begin the discussion without any further delay. Quickly guys, I'm looking forward for a reply. The moment you will type yes sir, I'll begin the discussion right away without any further delay. So in the previous session, we have discussed a really very important topic. If you remember, in the previous session, we talked about one of the latest announcement done by RBI that is related to non-fund based credit facility. And if I talk about this non-fund based credit facility, all the conditions related to the non-fund based credit facility were discussed with you, and I'm pretty sure all the terms which I have discussed in the previous session were crystal clear. And today we will be moving ahead, we will be solving few questions related to the same news, and then we'll discuss current session. Here we go with the first news, the first question from the previous session. Consider the framework for partial credit enhancement to bonds under these directions. So which directions they are talking about? So they are talking about non-fund based credit facilities. So in that particular context, PCE is a contingent line, not a guarantee, drawn only if there is a debt service shortfall. That is absolutely correct. Partial credit enhancement क्या है? So partial credit enhancement अपने आप में एक contingent line है कि मान लो आपने अनाउंस किया that you will be issuing 1000 crore rupees of bonds, and उसके बदले में let's say बैंक SBI ने आपको दिया 200 करोड़ का पार्शियल क्रेडिट एनहांसमेंट. इसका मतलब ये है कि जब भी कभी इस 1000 करोड़ के बदले में रीपेमेंट करने की बारी आएगी, चाहे वो इंटरेस्ट है चाहे वो प्रिंसिपल है, एंड इफ द कंपनी विच इज इशूइंग दीज बॉन्ड्स will not be in a position to pay back, then they have an active line of credit which they can utilize of 200 crores from SBI. इसका ये बेसिक मतलब है. ठीक है जी. तो उसके आधार पर फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट करेक्ट. अ सिंगल regulated entity may provide up to 50% of the bond size. So second statement is wrong. The aggregate PCA across all regulatory bodies, sir, चाहे तो आप individual regulatory entity की बात करो या फिर all the regulated entities की बात करो, this criteria is same as 50% of the total size of the bond size. PCE provider cannot invest in the PCE enhanced bonds. Yes, that is true. You cannot invest in the PCE enhanced bonds. Pre-enhanced rating of the bonds must be at least BBB negative. Otherwise, no PCE will be provided. That is correct. So answer is going to be A option. आपको याद होगा I have made you understand how to calculate the capital required against the PCE offered. So how we calculate the capital required? So that is, let's suppose the outstanding, or I would say the PCA offered is 200 crores. Risk is, let's say, BBB negative is the credit rating. So it will be 100% is the risk. And what is the requirement? That is 9% of RWA. So this is RWA, and 9% of RWA will be my answer. So in this particular case, capital required for this partial credit enhancement, which is need to be maintained by the bank, is what, sir? Its value is 18 crore rupees. I hope it is clear. Moving on to the next question, guys. The next question is now on your screen. It is again related to PCE exposure. Per NBFC or housing finance company, partial credit enhancement exposure must not exceed 1% of the PCE provider's कैपिटल फंड्स, और अगर हम टोटल कैपिटल फंड की बात करें, इफ वी टॉक अबाउट द टोटल कैपिटल फंड, एज आई टुक द एग्जांपल इन द प्रीवियस सेशन ऑफ एसबीआई, कि एसबीआई का जो टोटल कैपिटल है that is 6 lakh crore rupees. So 1% of 6 lakh crore rupees comes out to be what? So it comes out to be 6,000 crores. If you remember, ये सारी चीजें हमने डिस्कस की थी, बिल्कुल उसी के बेसिस पे, बिल्कुल उसी के बेसिस पे this point has been introduced. So the point says what? So the point says aggregate exposure, aggregate PCE exposure cap is less than or equal to 20%. तो अगर आप aggregate exposure की बात करेंगे, so aggregate exposure across all the NBFCs or HCA or HFCs must not exceed 20% of the tier 1 capital. And if I talk about per NBFC, if they are providing PCE exposure, it should not be greater than 1%. That is also correct. That is also correct. ठीक है जी, ये दोनों points clear हो गए. I guess there is no doubt in this. Now, moving on to the next point. The next point talks about these caps apply in addition to the general per borrower and group exposure norms. Yes, sir. जो आपने already conditions है उसके साथ these are the extra norms which will be applied. That is true. The tenure of NBFC or housing finance company bonds receiving partial credit enhancement must be at least 3 years. That is true. The use of proceeds of such NBFCs or housing finance company bonds must be limited to refinancing existing debt only. That is true. So answer is going to be C option for the given question. ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गया पॉइंट, समझ आ गया. चलिए तो आज की क्लास की शुरुआत करते हैं, और आज की जो क्लास है उसकी शुरुआत हम करेंगे एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट टर्म के साथ. एंड आई डोंट नो हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू हैव heard about that particular term in the past, लेकिन पहले मैंने अगर मैं कहूं तो अप्रैल में ही, in the month of April only, I have covered in much detail the same news, or I would say the news related to the same context, जो कि news है आज के हमारे discussion की, that is regulatory sandbox. Have you heard about it? Regulatory sandbox, anyone? So whenever this question is asked that what do you mean by the term regulatory sandbox, what should be your answer? Your answer should be, sir, regulatory sandbox is what? So it is basically, if you want to define this, if you want to define the term regulatory sandbox, what will be your answer? So regulatory sandbox is basically a controlled, it is a controlled environment. It is a controlled environment where live testing of the financial products is done. Where live testing of the financial products is done. मैं कहना क्या चाहता हूं, इस पॉइंट को समझिएगा जरा. Let's suppose, guys, I am an innovator. I have come up with a new fintech product. That means a product which is related to finance and technology. And if I want to implement it, it cannot be implemented right away, because fintech or finance basically means the involvement of high earned or involvement of the hard earned money of the public. So in that particular scenario, there is a condition, and the condition is all the areas which are governed, which are regulated by RBI. If you want to issue a product, if you want to implement your product, if you want to implement your innovation, in that particular case, you need to seek permission from RBI. So in that case, what will RBI do? RBI will say that, first of all, I will test your product. If I find that your product is appropriate, it is good to go, then only I will allow this product to be implemented, then only I'll allow this product to go public. And once the product goes public, then only its regulation, then again its regulation will be done directly by RBI, or maybe with the help of the regulated entities of RBI. So the live testing of the financial product is done in a controlled environment, and that controlled environment is basically known as sandbox. It is basically known as regulatory sandbox. So new financial products, services, as well as technology, they are tested. Once it is confirmed that yes, it is good to go, then only after a successful test, the products, they can exit. The products, they can exit the sandbox, and once they exit the sandbox, that means they have been approved, and once they are approved, they will be implemented, or they can be implemented to the public. If a product entering the sandbox do not exit, that means it has failed the test and it will not be allowed to implement it. So the point over here is that is exit. This is very important. ठीक है जी. अब यहाँ पर कुछ बातें करते हैं, ध्यान से सुनिएगा. So I'll start my discussion in this manner. Reserve Bank of India has announced the exit of an innovative fintech product from the fifth cohort of the regulatory sandbox. I'll request you, let's wait for this, that what is the news all about. Let's first focus on regulatory sandbox. It is a controlled live testing environment where fintech firms, startups, or regulated entities, they can experiment with the new financial products, services and technology under the direct oversight of the RBI. What is the reason? So the reason is promote innovation, improve financial inclusion, enhance efficiency, along with that safeguard the consumer interest and financial stability. So what is the objective? So objective बड़ा simple है कि भैया financial products involve है, fintech involve है, finance involve है, तो it will be very tough if we implement the products without cross check. So it should be implemented once the cross check is done, once the cross check is complete. ठीक है जी, clear हो गया point? I guess there is no doubt till this point. Clear? Chalo. Now let's move on to the next point, which is again really very important. The next point talks about how it basically works. If I talk about the regulatory sandbox, so the fintech innovators, they first come up with a innovation, they first come up with a product, but they cannot launch it. They have to get that product into the sandbox where the live testing will be done. Once it is felt that yes, it is safe to be implemented, then only these products can go public, then only these products can be utilized for day-to-day operation. So ये जो RBI का regulatory sandbox framework है, it is being implemented since 2019, as a part of which five thematic means theme-based cohort means the entire regulatory sandbox process. So आज तक 5 अलग-अलग themes based जो regulatory sandbox processes हैं, they have been performed over the period of time. Reserve Bank of India की बात करें तो Reserve Bank of India has set up an inter-regulatory working group in July 2016 to look into and report on the granular aspect of the fintech and its implementation. तो कहीं ना कहीं 8 फरवरी 2018 को पहले एक कमेटी आई, उस कमेटी ने, एक वर्किंग ग्रुप ने कहा कि yes, we need a regulatory sandbox, and then finally in 2019 the regulatory sandbox was implemented. ठीक है जी. So it is basically a safe place, controlled place where the live testing of the financial products is done before they are implemented, before they are included in the market. Whenever we talk about regulatory sandbox, we must understand that who all can reach to RBI in order to get their products tested. So products will be tested for fintech companies, startups, banks, financial institutions, limited liability partnership firms and other companies. Remember that focus area should be first absence of governing regulations. अगर कहीं ऐसा area है where there is absence of governing regulations, या फिर need to temporarily ease regulation to test innovation, and third is innovation should show promise in improving the delivery of financial services. So ये जो sandbox में inclusion है, that will be done only if अगर आप गए और RBI से आपने कहा कि सर इस केस में तो आपने आज तक कुछ किया ही नहीं, तो RBI ने कहा हाँ यार ये तो कुछ नया. दूसरा पॉइंट, RBI चाहता है कि कुछ टेम्परेरी बेसिस पे रूल्स को ईज आउट किया जाए, तो भी अलाउ किया जाएगा in order to test your product. Now what is regulatory sandbox cohort? So cohort basically means the regulatory sandbox run few cohorts. Few cohorts means the end-to-end process. Few cohorts means the end-to-end process which says that limited number of entities they participate in each cohort. ऐसा नहीं है जिसका मन किया वो जाकर participate कर सकता है, जिसका मन करे वो जाकर apply कर सकता है, but RBI will see the applications, review them, and then RBI will allow, or then RBI will select the who all will be the part of this cohort. और ये जो cohort है, it is a timeline of around 9 months, means the entire process apply करने से लेकर final होने तक कि आपका जो प्रोडक्ट है, it has passed or failed the test, it is a 9 months journey. It is a 9 months journey. If you see, the first one is preliminary screening. Preliminary screening means you apply, then RBI's fintech department will look into it. If RBI's fintech department fits that, yes, feel that you are fit here, you will be selected, your product will be selected, else it will be rejected. Once the application assessment and shortlisting is done, so this application shortlisting is done in a span of 1 to 5 months. It is done in a 1 to 1.5 months. So लगभग 1 से 1.5 महीने के अंदर जो fintech department RBI का, that will review the applications. Once selected, then test will be designed. Once selected that who all will be participating, then test will be designed, which will take around 1.5 months. Once the test is designed, then it will be allowed for a testing phase. That means now you will be allowed to test your product, test your app, test your technology. And once the testing is done, after the test, evaluation will be done. If you pass, that means you will exit. You exit means now you are allowed to implement the product. Otherwise, if you are not exit, that means you have failed. You won't be able to implement your product today in the market as per the timelines which are given. अगर मैं अभी तक की बात करूं, जैसा कि मैंने कहा था, 5 themes based cohorts अभी तक implement हो चुके हैं. The first one is retail payments, second was cross border payments, then MSME lending, third one was prevention and mitigation of financial fraud, और जो पांचवा वो काफी इंटरेस्टिंग भी है. द फिफ्थ थीम इज न्यूट्रल थीम. अब मुझसे कोई पूछे व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय द वर्ड न्यूट्रल थीम? न्यूट्रल थीम बेसिकली मीन्स सर नो थीम. Neutral theme basically means no theme. All the areas which are under the control, under the regulation of RBI, if you want, you can apply. If you want, you can apply to get into. You can apply to get into the process of regulatory sandbox cohort. So applications which have been received, this is the count. Out of these counts, how many are selected? If you can see, in majority cases, 1/4. In majority cases, around 1/4 or 1/5 number is selected. Out of the selected ones, if you see, out of the selected one, these are the ones who have passed. These are the ones who have passed the result. So if I talk about the past result, in this case, 5th regulatory sandbox, that is the neutral theme, this testing is done. Now the testing is done, and if the testing is done, now we come up with the result. So the result is, out of 5 selected products, out of 5 shortlisted entities, only 1 entity has successfully exit. Rest have failed in the process only. Rest have been failed in the process only. अब थोड़ा सा 5th के बारे में बात करते हैं. The 5th theme, that is neutral cohort with a specified window for receiving the application, was announced in October 2023, which is expected to conclude in May 2025, and now it has concluded and the results have been announced. As I said, neutral means no specific theme mentioned. So if neutral, it means all the areas which are under the premises of RBI can be included. So if you want to come up with a product related to digital financial literacy, you can come. Digital lending, alternate credit scoring, eKYC, financial inclusion, artificial intelligence, blockchain, mule account, open finance, regulatory tech, super tech, all these are the areas which are under the control of RBI. And if you want to come up to get your product tested under all these conditions, you are allowed, and it is on tap facility. On tap facility, जब मन करे, you can request, you can raise the request, and if RBI will select you, then in that particular case, RBI will run the entire 9 months long cohort on your product, and once your product is selected or pass the result, then it will be implemented. ठीक है जी? Is this point clear? सारी स्टोरी समझ आ गई? तो अभी तक हमने क्या क्या पढ़ा? हमने पढ़ा रेगुलेटरी सैंडबॉक्स क्या है, Till date, how many theme-based regulatory sandbox cohort have been presented? 5. Today we are talking about the fifth one. In the fifth one, what is the theme of the fifth one? So it is a neutral theme, which means all the areas which are under the control of RBI, if you want to get your product approved, then you can apply for it under the neutral theme. ठीक है जी? Clear हो गया point? If it is clear, just give me yes sir. Everyone guys, if it is clear, give me yes sir. And if you haven't shared the session with your friends, I would request you quickly hit the like button and share the session with your friends so that more and more students they can join us live in the session itself. अब आती है मुद्दे की बात. मुद्दे की बात यह है कि सर फिफ्थ थीम जो कि हमारी न्यूट्रल थीम थी, न्यूट्रल थीम पे रेगुलेटरी सैंडबॉक्स कोहर्ट वाज अंडर रन, और जब वो कोहर्ट कंप्लीट हुआ देन वी हैव टू कम अप विद द रिजल्ट, एंड रिजल्ट सेज that out of 5 selected, only one out of, as you can see over here, out of 5 selected organization products, only one has successfully exit, rest 4 have failed in the process of testing itself. Now let's talk about this entity which has exit successfully the sandbox. The name is Indian Banks Digital Infrastructure Company Private Limited, and this company is promoted by ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, Yes Bank, and Aditya Birla Capital Limited. What is this company all about? So this is technology based company which is a blockchain based deep tier supply chain financing solution. So this is what? So this is a company which has got its product tested on the regulatory sandbox, that is a blockchain based deep tier supply chain financing solution. What are the problems? Why this, I would say, कि application RBI ने रिसीव क्यों की, एक्सेप्ट क्यों की? द रीजन इज माइक्रो स्मॉल मीडियम एंटरप्राइजेस, स्पेशली दोज इन दी लोअर टियर्स ऑफ सप्लाई चेन्स, दे फेस डिफिकल्टी इन एक्सेसिंग अफोर्डेबल फाइनेंस. तो जब आप कोई भी सप्लायर के पास जाते हैं टू बाय द रॉ मटेरियल, एंड इफ यू आर अ micro, small or medium enterprises where your purchasing capacity is pretty low, you don't find very good venues to borrow the loan, especially at an affordable prices. So in order to overcome this particular problem, tier 1 suppliers, direct vendors to the large corporates or anchors, they usually get financing easily, but tier 2 or tier 3 suppliers, they face high borrowing cost or credit denials. ये point बड़ा important है कि सर अगर मैं एक सप्लायर हूं, आई एम गिविंग द रॉ मटेरियल, इफ आई एम गिविंग द रॉ मटेरियल डायरेक्टली टू L&T, आई एम गिविंग रॉ मटेरियल डायरेक्टली टू अडानी, आई एम गिविंग रॉ मटेरियल डायरेक्टली टू लेट्स से Nestle, in that particular case I can easily access the credit from the market. But if I am giving loan to the, if I am supplying goods to the small units, small, micro, small, medium enterprises which are operating in the country, in that case it will be very difficult for a supplier. It will be very difficult for a supplier to raise the credit. अब अगर supplier is not in a position to raise the credit, so supplier will not be able to offer product on credit, or supplier will not be able to supply its goods on credit. And if the supplier is supplying the goods on credit, then in that particular case the credit timeline will be very strict कि भैया 15 दिन का क्रेडिट दे सकता हूँ, 20 दिन का क्रेडिट दे सकता हूँ, 50 दिन का क्रेडिट दे सकता हूँ, इससे ज़्यादा नहीं. रीज़न कि भैया मुझे भी तो काम करना है, मेरे पास तो लोन है ही नहीं, या तो मुझे कहीं से लोन दिला दो. समझ आ रही है बात है कि या तो सर मुझे कहीं से लोन दिला दो, मैं आपको भी लोन दे दूंगा. मुझे तो लोन मिलता नहीं है, अगर मुझे लोन मिलता नहीं है तो मैं आपको लोन दे नहीं पाऊंगा. स्ट्रिक्ट है. तो उस केस में क्या हो रहा है? इफ आई एम अ बायर, आई एम अ वेरी स्मॉल, आई वुड से एंटरप्रेन्योर, इन दैट पर्टिकुलर केस इट विल बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर मी to purchase the supplies on cash. And if I'm not purchasing it on cash and I'm purchasing it on credit from a large supplier, then in that particular case, पहली बात तो हो सकता है लार्ज सप्लायर मुझे एंटरटेन ही ना करे. इफ द लार्ज सप्लायर इज स्टिल एंटरटेनिंग मी, देन द प्राइस वुड बी हाई, बिकॉज द लार्ज सप्लायर ऑल्सो नो कि इन्हें भैया क्रेडिट पे कहीं और से तो सामान मिलेगा नहीं, मुझसे सामान मिल रहा है तो मैं प्राइस ज़्यादा चार्ज करूंगा. सो ये एक बेसिक प्रॉब्लम है जो डे टू डे operations में issue create कर रही थी, especially for the micro, small, medium enterprises. And in order to overcome this issue, there was a solution which was presented by Indian Banks Digital Infrastructure Company Private Limited, and now it has been passed. तो solution क्या था? बस मैं आपको basic बताता हूँ. Solution है invoice tokenization. When a credit worthy anchor accepts tier 1 supplier invoice, it is tokenized, converted into secure ट्रेडेबल डिजिटल टोकन ऑन ब्लॉकचेन। तो ये क्या कहता है कि सर जब भी कभी कोई क्रेडिट वर्दी एंकर है, उसने टियर 1 सप्लायर से टियर 1 सप्लायर का इनवॉइस एक्सेप्ट किया तो उसे टोकनाइज कर दिया, और टोकनाइज इनवॉइस को यू कैन यूज एज अ सिक्योर डिजिटल टोकन इन ऑर्डर टू बोरो द फंड्स। दैट इज अ बेसिक केस। ठीक है जी, समझ आई बात। अब इससे होगा क्या? अब इससे ये होगा कि जो बोरोवर्स को पहले फंड रेजिंग नहीं हो पा रही थी, जो सप्लायर्स दे वर नॉट इन अ पोजीशन टू बोरो द फंड्स, नाउ दे कैन easily borrow the funds with the help of this particular tokenization, because lenders can provide credit against these tokens on blockchain platform। क्योंकि blockchain platform पे it clearly says कि this token means the supplier is going to receive funds from Y. So if supplier is going to receive funds from Y, then in that particular case, bank can pay or bank can provide loan to X, because bank is very well aware that when the funds will be paid to X, when supplier will get the funds, supplier will pay back the borrowing done from the bank। तो इससे एक situation easy हो जाएगी for the suppliers to borrow। अब इसमें क्या है? It enables the deeper tier MSMEs to access cheaper, faster and collateral free finance। collateral free क्यों? क्योंकि आपने तो सिर्फ और सिर्फ उस इनवॉइस के बदले में लोन लिया, जो इनवॉइस आपने अपने बायर को दिया था, और उसी के बदले में आपको लोन मिल गया। इट एनहांसेस ट्रस्ट एंड ट्रांसपेरेंसी इन सप्लाई चेन, एंड इट विल रिड्यूस फाइनेंसिंग कॉस्ट डिपेंडेंसी ऑन द इनफॉर्मल क्रेडिट चैनल्स। So finally, RBI decided that yes, the solution which you have come up with, it is appropriate, it is acceptable. So RBI confirmed that solution successfully completed the testing as per the predefined test scenarios and boundary conditions. The product is now exiting the sandbox, meaning that it is ready for wider use. It can be implemented by the banks as well as NBFCs in order to provide better credit access to the tier 2, tier 3 MSMEs. Is this point clear, guys? So उसके अलावा ये regulatory sandbox क्या है, cohort क्या है, theme neutral क्या, blockchain क्या, I hope these all are the terms which are pretty clear to you. There is no need to discuss them. You can read them. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the next session. Let's try to solve a question on this. First question, obviously related to regulatory sandbox process of RBI. The fintech department of RBI, under the overall guidance of the interdepartmental group, oversees the end-to-end sandbox process. That is absolutely correct. हाँ या ना? Sandbox का जो end-to-end process है, who is responsible for it? So the end-to-end process is seen by the RBI's department, and the name of the RBI department is Fintech Department of RBI. The preliminary stage is conducted after the formulation of test design. No. First preliminary stage will be conducted. First shortlisting will be done. After doing the shortlisting, then test will be designed. After shortlisting it is done, then test will be designed. You need to remember that. The application assessment and shortlisting stage may last for up to 3 months. Application assessment and shortlisting, so it lasts for 1.5 months at max. The testing stage require entities to report test result at least once a month. नहीं sir, test का जो result है that will come after, or that will be given 5 months of time period. Evaluation will be done in maximum 5 months. That is true. So answer is going to be A option. That is absolutely correct. समझ आ गई बात? चलो अगले क्वेश्चन की ओर बढ़ते हैं। अगला क्वेश्चन क्या कहता है? अगला क्वेश्चन कहता है कि guys, you must have heard about eKYC. You must have heard about Aadhaar KYC. So whenever you go to the bank and you want to complete your KYC, what you will do? You will submit your Aadhaar card, और बैंक आपका क्या करेगा? आपका आधार कार्ड लेगा। आधार कार्ड लेने के बाद आपको कहेगा कि आप अपनी फिंगर को स्कैन कीजिए, और जैसे ही आप अपनी फिंगर स्कैन करेंगे, what will bank do? So bank has an access over UIDAI. Bank has an access over UIDAI, that is Unique Identification Authority of India. So ये जो Unique Identification Authority of India है, it has all the data of you and me, आधार कार्ड जब हमने बनवाया था, we got our retina eye scans, we got our fingerprint scans, so it has all the data. The moment bank give the Aadhaar number, then bank can access the data which is stored on the UDI, which is stored on the UIDAI platform. तो जैसे वो डेटा एक्सेस किया बैंक ने, तो बैंक के ऑफिशियल ने देखा कि भैया UIDAI के डेटा बैंक में किसकी फोटो लगी है, मेरी फोटो थी, मैं सामने खड़ा था। फिर उन्होंने चेक किया नाम क्या लिखा है, नाम बिल्कुल सेम था जो मैंने बताया और जो मेरे आधार कार्ड पे है। फिर उन्होंने मैच किया, यहां जो उन्होंने मेरे फिंगरप्रिंट स्कैन्स लिए थे, दे मैच दो स्कैन्स with the data which is already stored at the time of constructing the Aadhaar card. So जब बैंक ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन को मैच कर लेता है and if everything matches, then bank says that KYC is complete. That means KYC is not only completed, it is also authorized. We are very much sure कि भैया ये आधार कार्ड जिस इंडिविजुअल का है, he is the only one who has opened the account with us. अब इसी चीज को थोड़ा और बड़ा करने के लिए, इसे और इफेक्टिव करने के लिए, Unique Identification Authority of India, which is functioning under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, has unveiled a new framework in order to provide or in order to facilitate the onboarding of cooperative banks into the Aadhaar authentication ecosystem. अब जो आपका आधार authentication ecosystem है ये वाला, अब इस आधार authentication system में we will be including cooperative banks as well. So this initiative is basically to highlight the observance of International Year of Cooperatives, which is declared by United Nations. तो 2025 का जो साल है, we are celebrating it as International Year of Cooperatives, and this year is the International Year of Cooperatives, which have been designated by United Nations, और इसी साल को मनाते हुए ये announcement की गई है. The move represents a major policy step towards digital financial inclusion, especially in rural as well as rural as well as semi-urban areas. क्योंकि अब cooperative banks में जब आप जाएंगे तो there is no need to give your voter ID card or something like that. आप आधार कार्ड दीजिए and you can get your KYC authenticated over and there right away. Now, who all are involved in this entire process? A Ministry of Corporation, which is responsible for the management of cooperatives, NABARD, the supervisor of cooperative banks, then NPCI, the umbrella organization of retail payments in the country, and the last one is the cooperative banks themselves. अब authentication framework में क्या क्या होगा? First one, biometric e-KYC and face authentication. So what is the point over here? Biometric e-KYC and face authentication. So I would come up with this manner. जो customer है, they can open account or update their details securely using the Aadhaar based biometric, फिर चाहे वो फिंगरप्रिंट है या फिर आपका रेटिना स्कैन है, और फेशियल ऑथेंटिकेशन. तो ये पहला पॉइंट आ गया कि अब अगर आपने आधार कार्ड दिया तो जो बैंक है, बैंक विल ऑथेंटिकेट दैट वेदर यू आर द वन हु इज द ओनर ऑफ दिस आधार कार्ड विद द हेल्प ऑफ दिस प्रोसेस. आधार enabled payment system, now cooperative banks will be capable and they will allow you to enjoy Aadhaar enabled payment system. That means now if you have an account in cooperative bank, then you can access your cooperative bank account. You can make the transactions from your cooperative bank account with the help of Aadhaar card. एक example लेता हूँ बड़ी simple सी. Let's suppose you went to the filling station. आप पेट्रोल पंप पे गए, आपने पेट्रोल पंप को लेबर को कहा, वहाँ पे जो भी असिस्टेंट था, आपने उस वर्कफोर्स को कहा कि प्लीज़ फुल द टैंक. उन्होंने जैसे ही आपका टैंक फुल किया, बारी आई पैसा देने की, आपने कहा प्लीज़ गेट द POS, प्लीज़ गेट दैट POS, दैट इज पॉइंट ऑफ सेल मशीन. जैसे वो पॉइंट ऑफ सेल मशीन आई, उस पर ऑप्शंस थे मोड ऑफ पेमेंट. एक ऑप्शन था मोड ऑफ पेमेंट कार्ड, एक था UPI, एक था आधार एनेबल्ड पेमेंट सिस्टम. तो आपने उस वर्कर को कहा कि प्लीज क्लिक ऑन आधार एनेबल्ड पेमेंट सिस्टम. ही क्लिक्ड ऑन आधार एनेबल्ड पेमेंट सिस्टम और उन्होंने वो मशीन आपको पकड़ाई. आपने उस मशीन में अपना आधार कार्ड नंबर डाला. जैसे ही आपने आपका आधार कार्ड नंबर डाला तो उस आधार कार्ड से जितने भी बैंक अकाउंट लिंक है उन सब की लिस्ट आ गई. पूरा नाम नहीं आया, बस बैंक का लोगो और उसके साथ अकाउंट नंबर में लास्ट few digits of the account number. Let's say SBI में आपका अकाउंट है, आप उसी से पेमेंट करना चाहते हैं. You clicked on SBI. The moment you clicked on SBI, तब आया कितनी अमाउंट. So you entered the amount. Let's say 3500 is the amount. You entered that amount and then it will come up with the point of authentication. Authentication के केस में, if that machine has a camera, then you can recognize yourself with the help of your facial recognition. अगर नहीं हो पा रहा तो you can quickly scan your fingerprint, और जैसे ही आपने अपनी fingers को scan किया, आपका fingerprint scan flow हुआ with the help of this POS बैंक के पास. बैंक ने उसे मैच किया UIDAI के डेटा के साथ. अगर मैच हो गया तो बैंक विल अप्रूव द पेमेंट, और यहाँ पर आपको मिलेगा एक्नॉलेजमेंट दैट यस द पेमेंट हैज बीन अप्रूव्ड. सो बिना किसी मोबाइल नंबर के, बिना किसी कार्ड के आपने अपने अकाउंट से पेमेंट की विद द हेल्प ऑफ आधार कार्ड. और आधार कार्ड में कई बार ऐसा भी होता है कि बैंक फिंगरप्रिंट स्कैन के साथ साथ बैंक विल आल्सो आस्क फॉर एन OTP एंड दैट OTP विल कम ऑन द रजिस्टर्ड मोबाइल नंबर जो आपके आधार कार्ड के साथ रजिस्टर्ड है, तो वो भी हो सकता है. सो दिस इज व्हाट, सो दिस एंटायर प्रोसेस इज नोन एज आधार एनेबल्ड पेमेंट सिस्टम, आधार पेमेंट ब्रिज सिस्टम. आई होप अ पॉइंट आपको क्लियर हो. इज दिस क्लियर? मजा आया? अगली बार अगर कोई कहे कि आधार कार्ड की मदद से कैसे पेमेंट होती है, तो नाउ यू नो विजुअली हाउ द पेमेंट इज डन. Those who have enjoyed this visualization of Aadhaar payment, give me yes sir. So payment system allowing basic banking services like cash withdrawal, deposit, balance inquiry, fund transfer using the Aadhaar authentication even without ATM or traditional bank branches. A payment platform that facilitates direct benefit transfers, subsidies, pensions and welfare benefits are directly credited into the beneficiary's Aadhaar linked cooperative bank account. अब Aadhaar payment bridge से क्या होगा कि सर अगर आपने DBT, direct benefit transfer, if an individual is eligible for subsidy, so in that particular case government will transfer that subsidy directly into the bank account to which customer's Aadhaar card is linked. If now you have linked your Aadhaar card with cooperative bank account, then your subsidy can be credited into the cooperative bank account as well. ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गया पॉइंट, बढ़िया. सिंप्लीफिकेशन फॉर DCCB. DCCB की अगर मैं बात करूं तो वी ऑल नो दैट वी हैव स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स as well as we have district or central cooperative banks. So there is a simplification instead of investing in costly IT systems. So in order to develop the IT system जिसकी मदद से ये जो हमारे district या central cooperative banks are, they can also provide you with the eKYC facility. What has been done? It has said that rather than tying up individually, rather than tying up separately, ये जो district central cooperative banks हैं, they will use the system of the state cooperative bank. तो क्या करो, स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक का सिस्टम यूज कर लो, तो आपको नया पूरा सिस्टम बनाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. इट विल बी कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव, इट विल बी स्टैंडर्ड एंड इट विल बी फास्टर टू रोल आउट. रिमेंबर दैट. ठीक है जी. तो क्या क्या बेनिफिट्स हैं? व्हाई इट इज बेनिफिशियल फॉर कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स? दे विल गेन द एबिलिटी टू ऑफर मॉडर्न आधार enabled services for customers, and it will be easier to get yourself onboarded in a cooperative bank. Secure authentication and direct credit of subsidies can be done. Government के लिए beneficial है, क्यों? It will boost the goal of digital India and financial inclusion while strengthening the cooperative banking sector in the country. For rural India, it's very important because it will expand the access to digital banking in the areas where cooperative banks are often the first point of contact. तो अब आप cooperative banks की मदद से सारी की सारी सर्विसेज जो है वो प्रोवाइड कर पाएंगे. UIDAI 2009 under the provision of Aadhaar Act 2016, it was set up. It is operating. Purpose is to issue the Aadhaar card with 12-digit unique number and manage the authentication services, manage the data. CEO is Bhuvnesh Kumar as of 2025 itself and headquarter is New Delhi. ठीक है जी, क्लियर हो गया पॉइंट, समझ आ गया. तो ये आपके लिए मैंने दे दिया एग्जाम हिंट. एग्जाम हिंट क्या कहता है? न्यू आधार बेस्ड ऑथेंटिकेशन फ्रेमवर्क फॉर कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स, UIDAI under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. Whom are targeted? Cooperative banks. In cooperative banks, only state cooperative bank and district central cooperative banks are targeted. All are covered? No. 34 state cooperative banks and 352 district central cooperative banks are covered under this particular initiative. Only the state cooperative banks, they will directly registered with the UIDAI as authentication user agency, entities who are authorized to send Aadhaar authentication request. So state cooperative banks will be included as authentication user agency, and district central cooperative bank, they will use the infrastructure of state cooperative bank in order to fulfill these criteria. Okay? Here you go with the question. The question says, under the new framework, both state cooperative banks and district central cooperative bank are directly registered with UIDAI as authentication user agencies. The framework was developed in consultation with Ministry of Corporation, NABARD, NPCI cooperative banks. Only state cooperative bank will function as AUA and KUA, while district central cooperative bank will use their parent state cooperative bank's IT infrastructure. The framework covers all the 34 state cooperative banks and 352 district or central cooperative banks. Aadhaar based services will be offered with the help of this initiative. Give me the answer. Sir, Aadhaar based services will be given. This data is correct. Only state cooperative banks will function as AUA. DCCB, they will be using the services provided by state cooperative bank. This is correct, but they will not have an individual tie-up. ऐसा नहीं है कि स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक भी अलग से टाई अप किया है उसने यूआईडीएआई के साथ और डिस्ट्रिक्ट सेंट्रल कोऑपरेटिव बैंक ने भी किया, नहीं, स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक ने कर लिया. इस सेंट्रल कोऑपरेटिव बैंक का जो भी स्टेट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक है वो उसी के आईटी सर्विसेज को, उसी के आईटी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को यूज करेगा इन ऑर्डर टू प्रोवाइड द ई-केवाईसी सर्विसेज. तो उसके बेसिस पे द करेक्ट आंसर वुड बी द बी स्टेटमेंट. इज दिस क्लियर? 2, 3, 4, 5 आर करेक्ट. फर्स्ट स्टेटमेंट इज रॉन्ग. लास्ट न्यूज ऑफ द डे गाइस, एक न्यूज और है सेबी से रिलेटेड. आई थिंक वी वोंट बी एबल टू कंप्लीट दैट, सो उसे हम नेक्स्ट क्लास के लिए कैरी फॉरवर्ड कर लेंगे. सो RBI has appointed I. Bhattacharya as the ex-officio member of the Monetary Policy Committee. I hope you all know that Monetary Policy Committee, it is operating under section 45ZB of RBI Act 1934. It was set up on the recommendation of Urjit Patel Committee, which comprises of 6 members. 3 members are RBI officials, 3 members are eminent economists. These 3 members include RBI Governor, who is the ex-officio chairman of this committee, then Deputy Governor, generally the head of Monetary Policy Department, and the next one is one of the Executive Director is generally appointed. Then we have the 3 eminent economists who are appointed for a tenure of 4 years, and they collectively responsible to pass the monetary policy. Now in this particular case, earlier Rajiv Ranjan, over here, please see the chart, please see the tree. Over here, Rajiv Ranjan was the executive director who was the member of the monetary policy, but now he has been replaced by I. Bhattacharya. So executive director of RBI, an ex-officio member earlier was Rajiv Ranjan, but now he has been replaced by another executive director of RBI, that is I. Bhattacharya. Remember that this decision was taken under the chairmanship of Sanjay Malhotra ji, the 25th governor of RBI. And remember that Bhattacharya is going to replace Rajiv Ranjan. Why? Because Rajiv Ranjan is now going to serve as the head of Department of Economic and Policy Research. Remember that if I talk about the highlights, recently there was a meeting, 1618th meeting was organized of the Central Board meeting of RBI. So they have reviewed the global and domestic economic environment, geopolitical developments, challenges. They have even accessed Central Office Department of RBI, committees of Central Board and Ombudsman scheme. Along with that, they have appointed I. Bhattacharya as the new member of Monetary Policy Committee. He has more than 28 years of experience in central banking. He has spent 2/3 of his career in RBI's Monetary Policy Department, and he has also served as advisor in the Monetary Policy Department, contributing significantly to the policy formation. So he has also worked as an economic expert at Qatar Central Bank Doha for 5 years. This role was given to him in order to have exposure to the global monetary practices. His appointment ensures continuity and expertise in the India's monetary policy decision making. ठीक है जी, clear है? If it is clear, just give me yes sir. Then I'll present the question for the same. Then I'll come up with the question for the same. So let's try to solve a question on the same news. I. Bhattacharya, newly appointed ex officio member of Monetary Policy Committee, has spent more than two-thirds of his RBI career in Monetary Policy Department. That is true. Before joining Monetary Policy Committee, he served as an economic expert at Qatar Central Bank. True. No, no, not true, not true. Decade between 2009 to 19. No, sir, he has served it for 2009 to 2014 if I'm not wrong. Check कर लेते हैं एक बार. हाँ, 2009 to 2014, 5 साल के लिए he has done this job, not for decade, not for 10 years. So this is wrong. He is going to replace Rajiv Ranjan, who has appointed as the head of Department of Economic and Policy Research. That is true. The decision regarding his appointment was taken during the RBI 618th Central Board of Directors meeting, which was held in Lucknow. That is true. The meeting was chaired by RBI's governor. That is true. So A option is correct. That means second option out of the 5 is incorrect. Got it, guys? So that will be all, guys. In the next class, we'll start with SEBI extends the timeline for margin pledge repledge framework implementation. Actually, this concept, pledge and repledge, it requires at least 20 minutes so that I can explain it pretty well, and it's already 6, so I don't want to extend this session. We will be covering this news in the next session, don't worry. Here I have homework for you. Quickly take the screenshot. Take the screenshot and share your answers in the comment section below just after the class itself. So the first question is from the RBI regulatory sandbox. Try to answer it. You have 10 seconds. Done. Okay. Moving on to the next. Take the screenshot. Done. Take the screenshot. You have 3 questions as a homework, and I will be waiting for your response in the comment section itself. Done, guys? Okay. So that will be all from my side in this particular session. We'll be catching you all in the upcoming sessions to go. Good luck. God bless you all. Don't forget to rate the session. Don't forget to hit the like button, and don't forget to share the link of this session with your friends. See you soon. Bye-bye. Take care.